So we just got the official story trailer for Borderlands 4, and I, of course, wanted to go over everything we now know about the story because we learned quite a bit of new information these past few days. So starting with the trailer opens up with the Timekeeper giving us his, villainous monologue to the Vault Hunters as he has seemingly managed to capture and detain them, and he's about to implant his bolts into them to control them. The Timekeeper's bolts are something that he implants into the spine and brain of every person born on Kairos, and he can see what they see and even control them like a puppet should he want. And we can see us as we're captured on the surgical table where he plans on bolting us. So this could easily be towards the beginning of the game, as it's used as a reason for our 4 new characters to stay actively involved in the story. Maybe we do get bolted and it gives reason to go against the Timekeeper, take him down for the sake of their own lives being on the line. Maybe even before they meet up with the Crimson Raiders. Or it could happen much later in the game, who knows. But as you would expect, it looks like the Timekeeper wants every single person on Kairos to be bolted, and that means all of the new characters who are coming to the planet. So we're probably going to see many psychos bolted, and maybe even civilians who were on Elpis also get bolted. We then get to see the other half of the conflict on Kairos, and that is with the Rippers, specifically just a shot of Callus. We also see a bit of Idolator Soul, who I briefly saw during my hands-on with the game. He gets his own little spotlight in the trailer. From the sound of it, he seems to have been exiled from the Timekeeper side, and he seeks to gain that back. I don't know if it's because he's going to play a bigger role in the story or what. He could perhaps just be his own independent faction, but considering just how early I saw him in the gameplay, I take it he's more going to just be a first major boss in the story. We got a shot of one of the many new Vault monsters, as well as more shots of our Vault Hunters, and then we see Zane's reintroduction back into the story, reuniting with Amara.
Reporting for duty, boss.
We knew both of them were returning. We've seen them multiple times throughout the trailers. We know Amara is taking a lot of initiative in this story, being a siren as they're all searching for Lilith. Zane is interesting because we have seen him in the gameplay that he has his own munition vending machines, kind of like Marcus, so he may be usurping a bit of that role in this game as well. We then get a shot of Claptrap, who's asking if he's met his savior, as we can see him throw a can at Rafa, who appears to have washed up. So I imagine this could easily be like First Contact. When you first land on the planet, maybe they crash landed and all of the trash washes up here, and it's just where Claptrap has made his base of operations. Because interestingly enough, going back to the gameplay testing I got to experience, on top of the main story, we got to do a side story with Claptrap, and during it, it wasn't our first time meeting him. So that means you meet Claptrap very early into the game once again. Of course, it's not too shocking. It's kind of tradition at this point. In the side mission, he's separated from all of the Crimson Raiders, or Crimson Resistance as they're now going by. Probably a rebranding now that they're under Ava's leadership. And Claptrap seemingly has crash landed onto the planet, so he's alone currently. Question is, how does Claptrap get here alone? Well, chances are he's not alone. Sanctuary 3 has probably crash landed somewhere on the planet, and some of the people on board have gotten separated. And I can imagine he just built himself this little headquarters as a shrine to Pandora in his off time. We then get to see more shots of enemies, the world, vehicles, a bunch of things I wouldn't exactly have put into a story trailer. But then we get to see the NPCs and story characters. We get another shot of this woman who we saw in the deep dive get dragged away by the Order. I assume she could be doing something to disobey the Timekeeper, or she's plotting against them and she's being made an example out of. Or she's getting kidnapped and we gotta go rescue her. We get a shot of someone trying to mug Moxie, and that's clearly not gonna go well for them. I feel like this is about to be very Marcus-like, only she's not going to shoot them in the leg. And then we get a shot of a character we've never seen before. I don't know if they serve the Order, they probably do, but they look fucking good. This gives if Zero had an adversary type vibes. Like if this was a comic book, this would be Zero's villain. I pray that this is not just some random enemy. We get more shots of the NPCs that we've seen before, and then we get to see the Vault Hunters fighting against this giant vehicle. If I had to guess, this would be part of the story that gives explanation to the drill site events that are happening all around Kairos. For whatever reason, the Rippers are wreaking havoc with drilling operations, and we seek to stop them. We don't know why yet, but this boss could be that explanation. Afterwards, we hear the Timekeeper ask why we get to be free.
Why should you get to be free?
All you do is destroy.
And considering how the Timekeeper is about to be our first, arguably, vault monster that is very human and can communicate, the idea of being imprisoned in a vault would build up a level of spite and anger towards those who are free. It makes sense why he'd be very controlling, because he wants to have what he never got and take away what was taken from him, thus imprisoning this world. So a bit of Timekeeper motivation as well. There's another clip from a cutscene where a guy is running towards a ship, but as he tries to get on, it explodes. I think we're seeing the Order, or even the Rippers, set traps, cause it is a war after all. But I am glad to see these shots with our Vault Hunters in the cutscenes. Like, we obviously knew it was going to be a thing by now, but still, every time it makes me happy knowing that we're getting to see them. And the trailer kind of just ends off with more shots of many of the other vault monsters, just showing off that, yeah, there's gonna be a lot of them. So that was the trailer. It did give us some story setup, but strangely enough, we got 100 times more information on the Fanfest live stream after the trailer ended and Randy Pitchford went on stage to tell us about the story. So here are some of the notable things he mentioned that I think are worthy of note. Firstly, he talks off about Kairos itself, and I'm gonna be honest, it's a strange picture that's being painted that I don't know what to think about, because he starts off by saying Kairos is a legendary planet, one that many believe is real. It supposedly holds more wealth, more power than all of the galaxies, and those who worship the vaults believe its true secret is immortality.
In the Borderlands, Kairos is legendary. Many believe that the planet Kairos is real. That on the planet, there's vaults containing more wealth, more power than all the rest of the galaxy. Those who worship the vaults believe that Kairos' secret is immortality.
And obviously, the planet is real. It's just been invisible for centuries, thousands of years, as we know because the Timekeeper hid it. But my quarrel with this setup, at least the way Randy paints it, is how is this a legendary planet with a reputation like this? Like, what do you mean many people believe it's real? It's been hidden for thousands of years. And keep in mind, Typhon de Leon was the first vault hunter. He was the first person to find a vault, at least in modern history. And that was about like 24 years before the events of the first game. At this point, it's been like 40, but still, what do you mean this is a legendary planet? Vaults went from like a myth that no one can prove to there's a planet with a reputation that holds all of the vaults and the secret key to immortality. Like, it should be a planet that no one has ever heard of who's not on Kairos. So if I hear Tannis drop a, "Oh, I've heard of it," I'm a tweak. It's one thing for the people of Kairos to have their own speculation about the Timekeeper and his immortality and whatnot, but the way it was phrased made me raise an eyebrow a bit. But that was really the only part. All of the other information was very fascinating. Like, apparently the vaults are what give the Timekeeper his immortality. I don't know in what sense, but some of the vaults do look different, almost as if they weren't created by the Iridians, but perhaps the Timekeeper himself. It makes sense why there would be so many more vaults comparatively if the Timekeeper is creating some. We also learn more about the Timekeeper and how he controls the planet via bolts. I already kind of just used this information before in the video, but I'll repeat it. But every time someone is born, they are implanted with a bolt, which gives him the ability to see what they see, and he can take over their body entirely and control them like a puppet should he want. So undoubtedly that is going to play a role. So you just gotta look out for which characters we interact with that have a bolt in them. What felt like a much bigger statement that seemed to get kind of glossed over was the implication that Lilith was drawn to Kairos because of her siren connection.
And maybe it was luck or chance, or maybe it was destiny assured by the nature of sirens and the connection they have with the powers of the universe. Whatever the case, Lilith moved to the moon of Elpis, and she had no idea where it was going.
So does that mean there was a siren on Kairos? Is Vex originally from Kairos, or could it possibly be the 7th siren? And finally, things kind of ended off with a surprising amount of backstory on Callus, the leader of the Rippers. So apparently she was the person we saw in the original reveal trailer. So apparently she was just an average woman living amongst the workers and farmers of Kairos when Elpis crashed through the veil in what became known as the Cataclysm. for everyone on Kairos. It was the first time they saw anything outside of their own existence, proof that there was something else out there. And during the cataclysm, psychomasks rained down from above and one landed right in front of her. She picked it up and saw the vault symbol and viewed it as a symbol of freedom. So she ripped out her bolt and brought liberty to Kairos. She began freeing others from their bolts as well, some by force, others she convinced, but they all rallied to her side to oppose the Timekeeper and his order. Personally, I'm shocked we got so much of her backstory from this presentation. It makes me wonder why the Rippers are even an antagonistic force in this game to begin with, because her whole thing is a sympathetic backstory. She's helping to liberate people, and yeah, many people die from having their bolts ripped out or go insane from it, but still, if having not seen Rippers be enemies already in the game, I wouldn't have thought that they would be. It could be that the ones we fight against are just the ones that went crazy and lost their sanity from having it removed and can't be controlled, but I don't feel like Callus is meant to be an antagonist, despite looking like one. So I have no idea what they're going to do with her story or her character, but I'm interested to learn. But anyway, that is kind of all the stuff we learned from the new Borderlands official story trailer, as well as from the Fanfest event. What are your thoughts on Kairos, the Timekeeper, anything and everything? Be sure to let me know in the comments below and subscribe for more Borderlands 4 content. And until next time, I'll see you in the next video.